All right, guys, new day, new bike. Well, actually, a very big bike. This is the Hovsco HovAlpha electric e-bike that I'm gonna review for you guys today. And it has some very, very cool features that I wanna get off my chest right off the bat. So the coolest two things about this bike is, first off, if you're a big boy or a big girl, this thing holds up to 450 pounds. Most high-end bikes only stop at like 330 pounds, but not this one. An extra 120 pounds of a rider. So if you guys are looking for a bike to hold your weight, this is probably gonna be the bike for you. And if you guys wanna save $100 off it, click the link down in the description and I can help you guys out with that. But anyways, let's get into the specs of this electric bike. Let's start off in the back and then I'll bring you in here with the camera and we'll kind of walk around it so you guys can see this stuff up close, personal, and then we'll take it out for a spin with the GoPro. So starting off in the back, you got 26 by 4 inches wide of a tire. These are absolutely massive. But the cool thing is the way they designed this frame and everything like that, it actually sits very low. So I think the seat can even go down just ever so slightly more, and I can sit on this perfectly fine at 5'9", 5'10", and I can put my feet on the ground. Unlike some other bikes that have 24-inch rims, I can definitely flat foot this, so that's a good pro. You also have fenders on this thing. You have a brake light in the back, but the bad thing about the brake light, it is not rechargeable and is not connected to the battery whatsoever. It just uses AAA batteries, so that's unfortunate. You're not gonna have any type of actual brake light that works with the brake levers, and you're gonna have to make sure you change out those batteries ever so often, depending on how much you ride this bike. Now, the cool thing I like about this bike is it does have the battery integrated into the down tube. This is a 20 amp hour battery, 48 volt system, and on this other side I'll show you in a little bit, you do have a slot for the key, so you can remove this battery. It pops off down from the bottom. I know a lot of people don't like that or don't trust it because they feel like their battery is going to fall out, but I've been riding bikes for the last 3 years. I've never had one of these bikes with the battery pop out underneath like hard conditions, going off road or anything like that, so you shouldn't have to worry about it. Up at the top, you do have a water bottle holder, which is very nice. And I also like the fact that this bike has a torque sensor. It doesn't have a cadence sensor. The harder you pedal, the faster the bike will go. With a cadence sensor, all you have to do is just rotate the pedals. You don't even have to put any pressure into it and you'll hit your top speed because the electric motor will just take over and give you whatever top speed the bike is rated for. Now, this bike is rated for 20 miles an hour out of the box, but you guys can unlock it. You could do it from the display right here, or you can download the app and you can unlock it to class 3 and it asks you to accept the terms and all that kind of stuff. I'll show you how to do both real quick. And then you have suspension up front, preload, you got a lockout right here, you got a fender on the front, you also have a quick release up in the front as well, and I love that just in case you get a flat in the front. Very gorgeous bike overall. That's probably one of the pros I like about it. It's just how it looks. This is a very nice paint job. It's very glossy, and then you have this like chrome sticker, but it's not a sticker. You can't take this off, but you're definitely going to be turning heads on the road. And I just think they knocked it out of the park with that. So let me bring you in here with the camera. Let's kind of go over this bike and see how beautiful it is up close and personal. So let's start off in the back of the bike. You do have a very huge fender. It covers the whole entire rear tire, so you don't have to worry about getting splashed with water, mud, dirt, whatever. It's also going to keep this bike very clean, so you won't have to wipe it down as much. And then right down here, if you guys want to see the motor, it has some numbers on it, so you guys can read that if you guys can see. And then you also have a label right down in there if you guys want to screenshot that. And then you also have a tourney derailleur back here. It's a 7-speed. So moving on over here, you got your chain ring. It's not very big, so I'm very curious to see how it's gonna feel when ghost pedaling, but we'll get into that in a little bit. And then you obviously your big battery and logo right there. Just look at how beautiful this bike is up close. And this is underneath the bike, so you have that locking latch right there for the battery. And then we'll move to the other side so you guys can see where the key goes in and where you charge it. So the key will go in on this side, and then you'll pop this to the side, and then it will drop out, and then you basically just pull it up a little bit, and then it will fall down. And then way down here, which I think is a very cool design, this is where you charge it. It's not on the complete side of the bike, it's kind of underneath the side of the bike. And this is pretty cool, and it is definitely covered, so it's not gonna get any rain or water in there, so it's not gonna corrode or mess up your battery or whatnot. So I like that. Very nice, clean setup. You have your motor disconnect in the rear, so if you do get a flat on this bike, it should be pretty easy. You just have to pop the chain off, do this motor disconnect right there, do these axle nuts, and you should be able to slide this whole entire back wheel off. So back here is where you're gonna have the brake light. It is not integrated whatsoever. Like I said, it uses AAA batteries, but it is very easy to turn on and off, and it's very easy to replace these. So to turn it on and off, you literally just push that button. You don't have to hold anything. It's okay, it's not that bright, but it's kind of decent that they put it on there. But if you do have your seat low like I have, it definitely gets blocked by this fender right here, so people seeing you is gonna be a little difficult. And then to turn it off, you just basically do that. And to pop it off, you just bend it up and out, just like that. It's very easy. Now moving on to the front of the bike, something I've never seen on bikes. This is a Zoom Forgo suspension. So very interesting setup right there. We'll see how it performs when we take it off road. Then you have your Zoom hydraulic brakes, which I've had these on many bikes as well, and they perform very good. So we'll see how it does for this e-bike in particular. And then you have 180 millimeter rotors right there, if you can see that number. And I like the fact that they added this little logo right on the rim, so it's gonna look pretty cool when you're rolling down the street. Moving on to the top, this is where your headlight's gonna sit, right at the very top of the bike. Most bikes put their headlight right down here, but you can see that that's blocked off, so you can't put anything right there. So we'll see how the headlight is being up top. You also have a little reflector underneath that as well. Cable management is pretty good. There's really no wires, and everything kind of gets integrated into the frame once it kind of goes around the side right there, if you can see that. So very clean setup, I would say. There's your Zoom hydraulic brakes. They feel pretty good while using them. I had to adjust them ever so slightly with the little screw that's in here. And once I did that little screw, they feel very good. The grips also feel very good as well. Let me flip over here and sit on the bike. So this is me sitting on the bike and how it's gonna look to you when you sit on it for the very first time. Here's your grips. They're locking, so they're not gonna move anywhere. It does feel like they barely slightly move, but I'm really forcing those things to move. But the fact that they lock, perfectly fine. You shouldn't have any problems with them, especially if you like these hand rests as well. It should feel very comfortable because the handlebars are very low. You have your throttle right here, a throttle I've never seen on any e-bike, and it's on the left side, so just something you got to get used to. Then you got your plus and minus buttons right here. You got a dedicated headlight button right there. And then you have your on-off button right here, which we can hold and turn on. And that's how the display looks. Pretty clean setup, nothing crazy. But the display actually is nice and big and bright, so you definitely could read this daytime or nighttime. And then sliding over here is where you have your 7-speed and you have your shifter as well. And if you don't want this to hit your thumb, which I might move it, this actually doesn't really come close in contact, but you can always slide this over if this is getting in your way, if you have really big hands. See how that's kind of hitting? So just something that you can do. So before we ride it, I need to show you guys how to unlock this bike. So let me show you that really quick and then we'll switch to the GoPro. So the first way to unlock this bike, if you can't get it to work in the app for whatever reason, hold this brake lever and you're gonna have to hold all 3 of these buttons down other than the headlight button. So let's do that. It takes a little bit for the bike to turn on. You're definitely gonna need 2 hands for this. You're gonna see the screen is flashing at the very top. You're gonna want that, you know you're in the right mode. Hold the plus and minus button. It's gonna take you into P1, then you're gonna hit your headlight button and you're gonna take it up to P3, if you guys can see that. Let it finish, you can reset it if you want, it should automatically go back. Recycle the bike back on and off and you should be unlocked to 28 miles per hour. The second way to do it is download the app on your phone. It could be iPhone or Android, they have the app on both. Make sure you Bluetooth to your bike, make sure it's connected, make an account, do all that stuff. Once you do, your bike should show up right in the middle. That means you know you did it right. Come over here to the right hand side, it says join e-bike classes and then my e-bike. Hit e-bike classes. It's gonna be on class 2 right off the bat. Hit class 3. Then you're gonna hit I agree. You could read that if you want. And then there you go. Now you're unlocked to 28 miles per hour, if not more. All right, so I think I've been out in the garage long enough showing you guys this bike. I am pouring sweat. It's 104 degrees right now. So let's go switch over to the GoPro and go take this thing for a ride, get the wind flowing through me because I am hot. So let's go. All right, so I normally like to do a top speed run right here because we have a full battery charge. And I'm noticing I have it in gear number 7. I have the throttle down. I'm pedaling as much as I can. It does feel like I'm ghost pedaling already at 20 miles an hour, even in the highest gear. And it's not doing anything. So I'll let off the throttle and I'll pedal. I can definitely feel it's a torque sensor because I'm definitely had to put a lot of effort into pedaling to get this thing to move. But there we go. Now we're picking up some speed. Oh man, you really have to pedal this thing to get like a high top speed. It feels weird because the chain ring just isn't big enough for this bike. So the reason why I'm losing speed right now is because I can only move my feet so fast unless I'm just like wailing them back and forth to try to get that high top speed. I feel like I gotta stand on the bike and pedal like this. So 24, 25, 26, 27, there we go. Look how fast my feet are moving to get this speed. 27 is what I'm seeing. Whoa, this bike is definitely gonna give you a workout, I'll tell you that right now. The next thing I'm noticing right off the bat, after I try to catch my breath, is that the seat is not very comfortable. It's very slick as well too, so I'm not a big fan of the seat. And what is this truck driver doing? Just kicking up a bunch of dust everywhere, buddy. And you're going pretty slow. Go faster. I'm going faster than you. I'm only doing 20. So can you only go past 20 miles an hour if you let off the throttle? Because that's what it seems like. So yeah, you can't use the throttle if you want to go past 20 miles an hour. You're gonna have to pedal. The throttle only allows you to go up to 20 miles an hour, but if you're pedaling and throttling at the same time, it's gonna limit you down to 20 miles an hour, which is crazy. I would think that if you use the throttle with the pedals, you'll be able to hit top speed, but you don't. If you guys can see the display, I'll try to move it down a little bit because it looks like it's probably too high for the GoPro. You can see that we're in pedal assist 5, and these bars right here, that's when your power's kicking in and off. So I'm noticing that it's like going back and forth. Now when I let off the throttle and I pedal, look how high those bars keep going up and up and up. But if you don't pedal hard enough, they'll start dropping down. Like, look, I lost all my power. This is 100% a bike for people that like to get a workout in and feel fit and everything like that, which surprisingly, this bike holds someone up to 450 pounds. I said that already. So I think they're trying to get you to lose some weight here. You can't just use the throttle and go. You definitely have to give it a lot of pedal to be able to go fast. But realistically, for everybody out there, 20 miles an hour is still fast enough for an electric bike. I just like to go super, super fast, that's all. All right, so we're in our designated spot where we do a top speed run. I'm pretty sure it's gonna reach 20 miles an hour before we hit the end, but I am not going to use the pedals. Let's just see how fast it gets to 20 miles an hour before we reach the end of this road. And then on the second stretch of road, we'll pedal the whole time and see how fast we can go. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. Definitely picks up quick. Definitely has some torque to it. We're already at 15 miles an hour. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. There we go. That's great. And the highest top speed I have seen on this bike, it said 28 miles per hour. Maybe it's 27 point something. But I have been recording it on my phone, so let's see if that actually matches up before we get any farther in the video. 28.8 miles per hour, so I never saw it hit 29 at all, so this is pretty accurate. They did a good job on that. All right, here is the next section. We're gonna pedal. I am in gear number 1. We're gonna go up to 7 as well, and I'm just gonna pedal my heart out and see how fast we can go. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow, the pedals kicked in pretty damn fast. Now the throttle is like back and forth, I've noticed. So we're moving so fast in speed that I just have to shift to 7 automatically, like right out the bat. There we go, there we go. I'm pedaling as hard as I can. I am pushing these pedals. 27, 28, come on, 28. We're probably doing 28 to be real. Oh, let's go, we're gonna run out of road, but we hit that speed so fast, so I will say. Yeah, and these brakes feel great too. We'll do a brake test in a second here. Let's see if our top speed went up. 28.9, so we were going a little faster. So this says 28, but it's not actually getting to 29. So that's why it's staying at 28, but it doesn't have a decimal right after it. So that's cool. So almost 29 miles an hour, not too bad. Well, I'm out of breath and it's like 104 out here. Hope you guys smash a like on this video and appreciate me out here in the hotness. I gotta go in and take a shower after this. What is this? What is it? Woo! Woo! Ric Flair, woo! I just figured we'd hit some stuff. I want you guys to know that I did air these tires up to 18 PSI, if you saw my video when I was using a little electric air pump. And it feels great. It's very comfortable other than the seat. The seat is really hurting really bad by now, especially when you're pedaling and you know your body kind of moves left and right. I'm definitely getting sore. I would definitely say a seat upgrade is necessary for this bike. But real quick before we go off-road and go up this hill test, let's look at this bike out in the sun like I promised. All right, there she is. This is one sexy bike. Even the rear stickers and stuff like that are reflective. It looks so gorgeous, guys. It has that pop to it. It literally looks like a car paint job with a nice like the ceramic coating on it. It looks so good. I love how it looks. This is like a perfect looking e-bike to me, especially if you want a big fat tire e-bike. I don't think you can go wrong with this one. I actually really like this one. So here comes the hill test. Pedal assist number 5 right at the bottom of it. Then we'll do this again, getting a running start. But this bike feels like it has power, so I have some luck on coming up this thing. 750 watt motor, 1000 watt peak. It still feels powerful, whatever controller you're using. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. I'm not using the pedals. My feet are actually off, and look at that. Look at that. There you go. So compare that to a 1200 watt, 48 volt e-bike. This thing got up it like nothing else. Now I want to pedal as well, and let's see if it actually takes it up there faster in the same spot if you pedal. I think it will. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, it just climbs. I don't even need to go back, but I'll just do it just for experiment reasons. Why not? All right, here we go. Here's our running start right here, baby. Oh yeah. Nice and smooth. The only thing I heard from the bike was the chain. The chain was moving a little bit. And I just realized that I did not tighten this throttle. So if you guys see this, my throttle's moving. This has nothing to do with the quality of the bike. I just actually forgot to tighten this down. So I'm gonna have to be careful with that. It's feeling pretty good, guys. Not gonna lie. We don't have any rear suspension on this bike, just suspension in the front. But these big tires and being aired up to 18 PSI out of 20, it feels very good. Oh yeah, that's right, I can't use the throttle if I want to go faster in the dirt. I'm trying to go a little faster for you guys because I can see how these bumps are. But I am not having a problem. This feels great. And I'm not wearing gloves because I really wanted to feel how the grips felt and like the bumps and stuff like that. The gloves kind of take up some of the absorption of like the roughness. So that's kind of why I'm riding without gloves right now, but always put gloves on if you're gonna ride. This is just to give you guys my point of view on how comfortable it is. Now, it's definitely hard to go fast in the dirt because you got bumps and stuff like that, so your feet kind of move on the pedals. The pedals aren't that grippy. I feel like my feet keep sliding off of them. So, not the biggest fan of these pedals on this bike. But I will say, surprisingly, that was fantastic. This bike is gonna get an 8 out of 10 for how comfortable that was. Yes. That high of a rating. No lies here. I'm not fibbing about nothing. I'm not telling the truth. That was awesome. Now what I like to do, we do a turning test. We see how this bike turns. It feels a little sticky when you start getting into the turn, but once you get your weight into it, it feels perfectly fine. That's kind of how it is on big tires. You're not gonna have a problem turning. The biggest thing I do like about this bike, and let me stop for a second, is check this out. Look how much you could turn these wheels. I can almost turn them all the way until the cables start hitting. I don't want to scratch this bike, it's too beautiful. But look, it's literally doing a whole 180. So whenever you guys gotta move this, you have so much room to like put this in places. Like when I was moving it around to shoot this video in my garage, I didn't have to pick it up or move it so far back to like kind of curve it around. I literally was able to do like a 360 like right in a small little area. So I like the fact that these can turn all the way around. That's awesome. You're not gonna use it unless you're storing it or locking it up, but when you're moving it around, it's nice. Now I do hear like a little bit of noise. I believe from the front rotor, that's what it sounds like. But anyways, let's ignore that. We're gonna try out the brakes. We'll see if it gets rid of that noise as well. I'm going as fast as possible. 27 on here is probably 28 or roughly, but here we go, here we go. Oh God, I'm slowing down, 26, 27, here we go. Whoa! I stopped so bad that I felt the seat actually go from here and bend down. I probably had to tighten that seat. But wow, look, you can see how much we slid. That's surprising. That's impressive. Like 27 roughly miles per hour. I stopped at right here. You can see where this line started. It's 'cause these other ones are like from me too, but I stopped like right here. So that's not bad. We did slide, but that's awesome. These brakes were great. No issues with them whatsoever. And they also feel great in the hands. They're gonna be less maintenance compared to cable brakes, or mechanical brakes, I should say. Not a single problem. So far, man, so far. Oh, the seat popped back in place, I guess. All right, so the next thing I like to do is I like to see how responsive the throttle is, and then we'll see how responsive the pedals are as well. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Instant. Instant. I gotta stay at this lower speed because it's only topped out at 20 miles an hour. So we'll hit it at 10. 1, 2, 3, go. It's instant. Instant power when you need it. Fan-damn-tastic. Can't cuss on YouTube or you get demonetized. Or they don't promote your video. But yeah, that's obviously like, that's perfect. Oh yeah, that's beautiful right there. You can't go wrong. So now, let's try out these pedals and see how fast they react. Now I am in 7. If I go down to 1, they might activate a little bit faster, but we're still gonna do this test in number 7. So here we go, right at 10 miles an hour roughly. 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, it was pretty instant. Not too bad. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, that's like a quarter of a second to a half a second delay. That's great. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. The only thing I noticed, because this has a torque sensor, is when you're pedaling, and then the faster you go, your feet start free spinning, where you actually have to put more like rotations in. So you have to move your feet faster and faster and faster. And what that causes is a fluctuation of the speed. So as I'm trying to pedal like normal, because I'm used to cadence sensors, you can see this bar go up and then go down, and then go up and then go down. So you kind of feel the power going back and forth ever so slightly, because you have to keep putting more power into it as you go up in speed. So you have to keep moving your feet harder and harder and harder. And that's very weird to get used to right off the bat. I've only done 4 miles on this bike so far, so it's still very brand new to me. It's actually one of the hardest torque sensor e-bikes that I've ridden to kind of keep that top speed going. I would personally replace the chainring with something bigger, because this is actually a pretty small chainring. If you go to something bigger, it's gonna be easier to keep that top speed without you having to rotate your feet so fast. You won't have to rotate them like so much. Let's pop up the curb right here. Oh yeah. Nice and smooth, not the best bike, but the chain slap is something I don't like with stuff like that. I wish they had like a guard, which I don't think this bike does. Oh, you do. So it's a clear wrap, kind of like what you put on cars. You might be able to see the ends of them right here because they're kind of dirty. So at least you have that, but you might want to get something better to put on this so your chain doesn't like slap on this, because it's still going to scratch this up. So maybe like I don't know what it's called, but something else to replace that. Some type of sleeve is what I would suggest, like a Velcro sleeve. Then you won't hear that noise at all anymore. Now these tires do have a little bit of a howling noise to them, so they're not very quiet compared to a street tire, because they do have knobbies on them. But this bike is made to take it off-road and be on-road at the same time, so you know, you kind of pick your poison on that. If you want a street tire, you can replace one, but it's probably going to be kind of expensive and hard to find as well. Let's see how it is to pop up curbs and stuff like that, because the bike doesn't feel that heavy. Oh yeah, no, that's not too bad. Since this bike weighs 77 pounds, it's not super heavy, but it's obviously not light. The battery itself, if you remove that, that's probably like 10 pounds, 12 pounds by itself, because that's a huge 20 amp hour battery in there. So this bike should be very easy to throw on your bike rack of your car, or maybe inside your car if you have a big like SUV, or if you just need to carry it upstairs or something like that. If you live in like an apartment and you live on the second story, it shouldn't be that bad of a bike to carry. It might be a little bit awkward because it's very big. You can also take the front wheel off too if you want, because it's a quick disconnect. So I don't know how much work you want to do to like put it into your apartment or whatever you stay at, or your car, but you can do that. A lot of people that pick up these bikes to buy them from me, you can definitely fit them in smaller cars with the fact that you can take the tire off so easily and put it back when you get to your location. That makes it super, super nice. And real quick, I like to see if this is accurate or not. You guys should be able to see the display a lot better now. So we're at 6.2 miles on here, and my phone is still recording, and it says we're at 5.9 miles. So that's almost pretty accurate. It says our mileage is 0.3 over right now. That's not bad. Honestly, if it's like 0.2 or 0.3 off from every 5 miles, that's pretty spot on if you ask me. And our highest top speed still has been 28.9 miles an hour. So good job on them for getting that right or close to it. So I'm gonna see you guys at the house. I probably have another 2 miles to go, and then I'll give you guys my final thoughts on this bike. But so far, I'm pretty impressed. I'm just very tired. All right, so the final conclusion and thoughts of this bike is I absolutely think all of you guys out there are gonna love it. Unless you're people that do not wanna pedal a bike whatsoever, then you're not gonna like it. I'm kinda in between because I love how the bike rides, I like how it feels, the setup of it, the color of it, how it looks on the road when you're going down the street, people are looking at you and stuff. It's a very cool bike to look at. There are some huge cons of this that I don't like though, and for one of them is gonna be that there's no actual integrated tail light in the back, and the fact that this tail light is also blocked by this rear fender unless you move the seat high enough up so that light goes over there. But you're always gonna have to be on top of changing out those batteries. I would highly suggest getting a backup light to maybe throw on here that maybe has longer battery life or a rechargeable one so you don't have to go through batteries all the time. The next thing I would say is the pedals. The pedals are not good whatsoever. Because you have to pedal this bike and you have to pedal it very hard to keep your top speed up there, especially if you're gonna take it off road or you're going over some very bad roads out there in the world, I would definitely replace these pedals because they do not stick to my shoes whatsoever. This has actually been the first bike that I've complained about the pedals. These are not good whatsoever, but the good thing is, of that fact is you can buy these on Amazon. Pedals are about like, I don't know, 20 bucks or under, so you can replace those very easily. The next thing I would replace is this seat. The seat is very nice and wide, but there's no actual cushion to it. It's like very thin. So this is not very comfortable for very long rides. My butt doesn't feel that great. It's not hurting. It just feels uncomfortable, especially when you have to pedal and like your body's moving back and forth. You kind of feel it a lot more on your rear. So I would probably go with like a Cloud 9 seat on this bike. But other than that, the motor is very powerful. That's actually one of the biggest pros about this bike. You saw that it got up the hill with only having a 750 watt motor with a peak of 1,000. It climbed up that hill like nothing compared to other bikes. I'm not gonna mention them, but they say they're 1,200, 1,400 watts, and they can't get up that little hill that we went on. So huge pro to this bike. It's very comfortable, especially with the 18 PSI I had in here. You can get a little bit more comfortable if you go down to maybe like 15. I probably wouldn't recommend going super low though, because you could get an easier flat that way. But if you want more range out of the bike, you can air these up to 20 PSI. That's the max that you can go on them. And I will say that I did 8 miles exactly on here. I verified with my phone. I did 7.6 miles on my phone. So it was off 0.4 miles roughly. And we were down 1 battery bar out of the 5 on here. So this is going to get impressive range because you can't always hit 28 miles an hour. And on top of that, you have to pedal. So you're putting your effort into it. So you're definitely gonna be burning weight, looking good for the next summer or beach, whatever you want to go to. You're definitely going to be looking good if you use this bike on a daily, like going back and forth to work or to your grocery store or whatever. So if you want to work out, this is a great bike, but if you don't want to pedal, then you might want to look at another bike. But that's pretty much it, guys. You guys are the true MVPs who are sticking around. I'm going to take it in a second video and we're going to be testing out this headlight and the brake light. And then also it's going to be a 14-mile trip, so it's going to be a little bit longer. So we'll do slightly longer range tests on this and we'll see if we go down another battery bar. Maybe we even go down 3, who knows. But if you guys want to save $100 off, links will be down in the description. Links will be down in the description, down there, go check. And I'll see you guys in the next one. True MVPs, peace out. Until next time, later. Go, boy, go. We can do it. Use those leg muscles that you never use because you're used to cadence sensors. Let's go.